The stillness is scary. It's very, very, very scary. One reality I have to come to terms with weekly is a Friday afternoon. Ever since I graduated college, started working full time, I've always had a love-hate relationships with Fridays. Fridays are the day where you get to choose what the next 72 hours look like. And I often found myself having nothing to do, and that would scare me. I would be riding the high of the excitement of getting out of work, and then by the time I get home, I met with the reality of, gosh, I'm no longer busy. I must sit with myself. I must sit with deciding who I want to become. And that's not to say that there isn't work that goes on after my 9 to 5 during the work week, but having that calmness and that stillness of not having to worry about going to work the next day or the next thing the next day made me realize that I had such a void in how I viewed my free time, how I viewed myself, how I felt like I lacked community, how I felt like I lacked excitement, just any type of stimulus that someone that I'm sure in their 20s can really chase after. And I never dealt with that reality. There'll be moments or seasons and times where I had figured out things to work for, to work towards, but I haven't, as I was building my systems and understanding what works for me to make sure I'm successful in my life, one area that I never built anything in was the weekends. I found myself consistently lonely on the weekends. And in that time, obviously, I found God talking to me. Now, granted, did I listen? Not always, but the same things would come up. And it was this thing of, you feel so alone because you don't talk to me. You don't commune with me. You're looking for community in others. You're looking for people to fill up space, activities to fill up your space, when it's really time for me and you to get to know each other. And I think to a certain degree that scared me. I often akin time with God is, obviously it's an introspective time with yourself. As you are getting to know God through His Word, through prayer, you have to be able to sit with yourself and see where you're at, so you are talking to Him from a place of authenticity. That I have to know and sit in my sad to know I can approach God to explain my sad. When I'm happy, the same thing. When I'm frustrated, when I'm tired, when I'm lonely. And I kept telling myself I wasn't ready to do that no, I'm 20, I'm in my young 20s, it's time to have fun and to be around people. Not necessarily go out and do the wrong things, but always looking for some level of distraction, and any level of distraction that puts a thing before God is bad, whether the activity itself is not bad. Some days I would just run and do extra workouts and go to the gym or go for a run. Other days, many times, I would find time to go to friends, so I'd be traveling states, booking trips, doing anything to not be alone. But interestingly enough, come my birthday, which was in May, I decided to do it alone. I went on this hike about an hour or 2 hours away from where I live, and I went and sat at this waterfall. And I was reading the history on this waterfall, and it caught my eye. So this waterfall was actually the reason why this whole park even existed. It's called Natural Bridge, and the whole draw of the history of the park is that the waterfall was continuously flowing, and it eroded away the limestone, I believe, and created this beautiful archway that looks like a bridge that you can walk through. And now today it's just this ordinarily, seemingly normal waterfall. But you're at this park that's miles long, and it's this whole experience, and you come, and I just sat there and I felt I got insight about what I was missing, what I was really chasing. And I found I was really trying to learn how to be like water. See, I didn't want to sit with myself, because in my pursuit of trying to become who I wanted to become, I thought I had to do a lot of things. I thought I had to perform a certain amount. I thought I had to check certain boxes to get somewhere. And I realized I just want to be like this waterfall. I just want to be like water. The water didn't wake up one day and decide it wanted to eat away at the rock and create this beautiful structure. It just flowed. It simply came down the rock's edge and flowed into a stream that created this beautiful structure out of the stone. These unnavigated taverns that are now sites for tourists like myself to come and hike, put on their Solomon boots and enjoy. I was just like, wow. There's so much power in just being. Water doesn't perform, it can't perform. Water doesn't choose, it can't choose. All it can do is go the route that nature allows it to flow. It wants to flow down, nature makes a path. If it doesn't, it makes a path, because it will continuously go where it's meant to go. Without restraint, without parameters, without permission, it just exists. Because from the day in Genesis when God created the waters, it was always there. And that just really put a lot of things in perspective for me. I want to be like water. There's nothing flashy or so profound about how the water is flowing. Now granted, the waterfall is beautiful, don't get me wrong, but the act of what it's doing for what it created, we would put so much emphasis, as humans, we'd put so much emphasis on what it created. We would think that the act it was doing was just as magnificent, but it's not. It was just consistent over tens to hundreds of years. And I think that's really what I was afraid of. I think that's also why I was lonely. No one was there with the water. No one is there with me. Everything that God has put on my heart to achieve is for me to achieve. It's not decided based on if people are standing next to me. If anything, it's because no one is next to me that I know it's mine. It's the idea of knowing that this journey, this path is my own. And I have to walk it out. At least for this time, for this season, on my own. And Friday evenings was a testament to that truth. I didn't think God was enough. I didn't think His presence or being able to sit in His presence was enough for me. I felt like I needed more. I wanted more. I needed community. I wanted community. I know that just one of my childhood struggles was not having community. So now being at an age where I can choose, I prefer a reality where I have many, many people around me. And I don't think that's not for me, but I don't think it's for me right now. Where He wants to take me where I want to go and where I want to go with Him, there is a season of solitude that I must walk out. There's been different stages and it's looked very differently in different years of my life, but in this year, as I'm rolling out of 2026 into 2027, there's some things that He can only show me about myself if I go alone, if I go in the mundane, if I go in the boring. And I know I've talked about the boring before, but it's become even more real here. It's like everything I want to achieve is in that boring, is in that ordinary task or thing that I have to do day in and day out that I'm running away from. And I'm just so grateful that God has given me all these revelations through my fitness journey, because it's just directly applicable to everything in my life. That I won't grow a muscle unless I work out that muscle day in and day out, week after week, year after year. And it's the same thing with my fitness. Talking about running, if I don't run day after day, week after week, training session after training session, same thing with High Rocks, training session after training session, if I stop, I lose progress, or at least I stop my progress. And nothing is different here. I have this conversation with my dad a lot where I'm always telling him that he's so extraordinary. And I found a newfound appreciation for that word. And he's like, no, Olu, I'm not special. I didn't do anything special to get here. And I was like, that's where you got it mixed up. The reason why people become special is not because they do anything that other people necessarily can't do. They just do it so much, or in a way that, or at a volume that other people cannot do it. And I remember this quote that I'm sure I'm going to butcher it, that I heard a couple years ago. It's about extraordinary people. Extraordinary people are people that are able to do the ordinary extra. And that's why I was calling him special. And that's where God is calling me to. You are now able, he's been showing me that I'm now starting to see my potential as I use other people as mirrors, as insights, and as I gain wisdom, or realize that there's wisdom that people are many years ahead of me that I already have gotten at this age. And it's like, wow, if I'm already able to keep up with this person this way, imagine what God can unlock with me if I can take my walk somewhere. And it's like, you have to get comfortable in that alone time of doing the ordinary extra. You want to be a special vessel. I have this term that I have for myself, that I want to become a preferred vessel for God. I don't just want to be used. I want to be a vessel where you're saying, no. I have all these people to choose from, but use Olu because he follows me this way. Just the way God looked at Daniel, or the way he looked at David. I want to be a preferred vessel. But if you go look at their stories and what they had to do, and the way that they lived their life, and the way they subscribed to the ways of God, they were able to do the ordinary extra. And that's what I had to stop running from. That's what I'm stopping running from. And that's even in coming down and even sharing these truths out. And then I do want to talk a little bit of where that struggle against the ordinary came from. And I've always had this thing where I think I've been blessed to have people that spoke life into my life to the point where I know there's some things that I think a little bit differently about. And because I've noticed from a young age, I'm able to dream a little bit bigger than people around me. I thought because I could dream big, I deserve bigger things faster. Because my vision showed me something that I haven't seen in this world, I thought that I was now granted access to something without process. I thought I was able to bypass process because I was given some type of special mind. And if anything, God showed me, because you are able to think so big, because I've granted you level of access to wisdom or talent or whatever you want to call it, you actually have a higher requirement of work. If you want to be a leader of men, if you want to take a step to show the world something it hasn't seen, there's a level of work you have to dedicate yourself to so you can make it real. It doesn't actually make it easier, it makes it harder. And I couldn't reconcile that reality. I couldn't accept that as the fact. And that's just because inherently I struggle with laziness. But it was humbling to, it has been humbling to be in the seasons I've been in, knowing where my mind goes and looking at where my life is now. And in so many ways, I can't take it for granted. I'm seeing so many things and I'm so ahead in so many areas, and I thank God for opening my eyes and helping me realize that I was seeing things the wrong way. But there's also some things I've been seeing, and I couldn't reconcile, like, why am I thinking these things but I'm living this reality? And he told me, because of process. Go through the process and you'll see how quickly you can bridge the gap. But until you choose to do the process, just keep dreaming. just keep thinking about it, because it's not gonna happen. I promise you that. And I couldn't accept that for so long. But when I did, I was in for an interesting journey. But then I went wrong. I thought becoming somebody was trying to emulate a life of what I thought that thing was, of who I thought that person was. And that was wrong. I had to learn that to go through the process of becoming myself, of subjecting myself, of doing the ordinary extra to pull out the potential within me. It was never about doing the things I think I should do to become who I am. I have to first realize I am who I am because of God, who God made me to be. And then I have to then work on those attributes. It wasn't that I was trying to conjure up the characteristics that will make me that person. I'm having these visions, I'm having this understanding, I'm having this wisdom because I am somebody. And I'm having to learn how to train that somebody to become fully present, fully realized. And that was another big hurdle for me as well, realizing that I want to be careful when I say this, is you can't become somebody you're not authentically, not fully. You can only become, at least in my opinion, you can only become someone that you are meant to be fully. You can only draw out of potential that's within you. You cannot create or conjure up a reality of yourself that is true from your own mind. That's just not how it works. God shows you, God has made you, God has shown you your potential, or we pray for the grace for him to show you potential, and then he gives you the process steps on how to make that person real, and then you get to choose, do I want to go through this process? And that's it. We overcomplicate the process. We overcomplicate our part in the journey in becoming a vessel. We don't have the say on who we are. Not really. We don't have the say on, like, we don't know how many, we didn't choose how many hairs are on our head, our skin tone, our height. We didn't choose any of those things. We didn't choose how our brain works or our acumen. We can only make ourselves smarter. We can only learn more things. We can only make our body stronger. We can go to the gym, right? We can take care of the vessel, we can take care of the skin, we can take care of the hair, but we cannot create these things out of nothing. Our job is simply to follow the instruction manual that what God gives us, and we get to see the beauty of what comes out of that. And there's no discredit to the work that we have to do, right? God tells us that, Olu, you can make $1 million. We still have to go out and do our part and find the funding or find the job and work the job or work the business or do the thing that will make that money real. So that part does not discredit our portion. But what it does do is also help us appreciate more how much work God is doing. That he's not just leading and guiding us, he has set the way. He literally tells us he has set the path for us to walk. Just walk it. And even in that, even if you veer off the path, I will help you back onto the path. Your job is to do 1 foot, next foot, 1 foot, next foot. You might not even be able to see. Don't even worry about that. I'm not even worried about your eyes, just your feet. And we just have to go. There's nothing special about walking, not necessarily. There's nothing extraordinary about taking the steps. But we applaud people for running marathons or even half marathons or even doing a race because there is an appreciation for the distance that someone can go. There's nothing special about the steps that they took. They took one, then they took two, and they started over again. But when you compound all that work into one thing, we realize how crazy it can be. And that's where I'm at in my life. Having the courage to know that all it is a 1-2. Nothing fancy, nothing special. There's no applause for it. There's no reward. Just a 1-2. And if I can keep doing that over and over again, I'll be able to see things that I've never seen in my life before. If I was gonna leave you with one thing to think about, day in, day out, moment to moment, just think 1, 2. What are those things that I can do? The ordinary things that will get me to where I want to go. Is it simply waking up to pray? Is it simply saying thank you for the day? Whatever it is, 1, 2. And slowly you will see the progress and how the process is changing you to become everything you're meant to be.